What do I want? What do I want? Hello everyone and welcome back to the BattleCast. In today's video, I thought that I would do my version of the B.A.R list. I saw people posting on Facebook and in the various Facebook groups what they felt would make the new B.A.R list that hasn't been announced or whatever. We can only theorize that there will be a new one, but what they felt would make the list. And it got me thinking, what do I think is going to make the list? What do I want to make the list? So I'm going to go through the cards that I think will make the new version of the B.A.R list whenever it comes, and my rationale for such. Now I'm going to use statistics in this game, like this card is used in X amount of decks, and that's just pulled from Underworld deckers. It is not a fine science, but I mean, whatever, right? I think anecdotally, I think it checks out. So first, I'm going to talk about what cards I think should be banned. And banning cards is heavy duty. I mean, they have to be extremely unfun. Because restricting a card can kill a card. I mean, there are cards that have been restricted that we see so rarely now that we once saw everywhere. So banning a card, I mean, you really gotta hate this card. So I thought about this quite a bit, and the first objective card that I would ban is Escalation. Now, Escalation is in about 60% of all decks, which is crazy. Do I think that this card is unfun? Do I think that it promotes a playstyle that shouldn't be in the game? No. Does it need to be banned? No. But I do think that if the people at Games Workshop are feeling particularly spicy about changing up the way the game runs, then Escalation is a good place to start, because it's two glory that damn near everybody can, count on, and taking it away might free up some deck space or deck creation space. So I don't know. I don't think it'll happen, but I would like it to. The next objective card that I think should be banned, and it's totally on the same lines, is Superior Tactician. Now this card is in actually about 35% of decks, and I think that's true. I mean, this goes hand in hand with that score immediately playstyle. I do feel like it pushes that score immediately playstyle over the edge. It is the bread and butter of their endgame, glory push. I think that banning this card would turn that playstyle upside down. I mean, it's this card that allows having so many little cards, make a big difference. Do I think that they'll ban it? I don't think so. But again, if they're feeling like they really want to spice things up, these are the two cards I think would do it. Now, when talking about what Gambit cards should be banned, I mean, there really is only one that they might run or might pick, and that's Ready for Action. Do they dare ban this card? What would this game even be like without Ready for Action? I mean, even in my head, when I play this card, I picture the Agents of Sigmar going, "Ready for action!" I don't think that this card will be banned. But, I mean, hell, again, if they really want to shake things up, when cards are run 60% of the time, maybe they're just a little too good. The other thing that makes this card unfun, I would say, is that the order of power, phase, and reactions make it unanswerable, because they just charged you, they just attacked you. Now it's their power step, and what do? They upgrade Ready for Action, and the whole time you're just sitting there. You have no control over what's happening, and that I feel like is pretty unfun, honestly. You've just survived an attack. I mean, unless they have a card like Endless Malice where they are allowed to make that attack action again, fair enough, because there are cards that interrupt that sequence, like Magor's Gartok's reaction, or Ready for Action. There's nothing that interrupts that timing window. Either they introduce cards that interrupt the timing window of Ready for Action, or they could drop it, because, as I say, it's unanswerable. Now on to the cards that I think should be restricted, and we're going to start with the objectives again. Now there's no surprise here, Calculated Risk. This card just exploded onto the scene. I think everybody and their dog knew that this was going to be a good card, and it is. I do love that it brought lethal hexes back into the game in a massive way. I think that was really cool. But I do think it deserves a spot on the restricted list. just because, if things like Fired Up are on there, then surely this must be on there as well. Another objective card that I think could go on the restricted list is Longstrider. Now, I'm on the fence about putting this one on the restricted list, but it got me thinking, in that this card so clearly benefits one person, Molag, but, he is in a bit of an interesting spot, and perhaps forcing him to take this card, which he probably would, it's absolutely incredible, forcing him to take this as one of his restricted cards might dial back his power, for taking something like Awakened Weapon and Foul Temper. So there might be a little bit of choice required, and I think that it would maybe bring his overall power level down, which might be kind of nice. This might be an interesting way to do that. So, maybe they'll do that. The last objective card that I think will make the restricted list is Shining Example. Now, this card is actually run in about a third of all decks, and I find that to be true in the games that I play. About a third of people have this. What makes this card so interesting is that it is so clearly better for some warbands than others. Inspiring Magor versus Inspiring the Sepulchral Warden are night and day. Or Inspiring Thundrick versus Inspiring Vortimus. I mean, the two are not similar. The fact that you get one glory basically for not changing your playstyle at all when you're playing someone like the Cursebreakers or Magor or a number of warbands, I think that means that this card could go on the restricted list because it is so valuable. Now I'm going to talk about the Gambit cards that I think could make the restricted list, and the first one's a doozy, and it pains me to do this, but I do think Last Chance can make it on the restricted list. Old friend, your time has come. Now, I think that without being on the B.A.R. list, Last Chance is bar none in the top 5 cards in this game. It gives you a 66% chance of living an attack if you're a dodge-based warband, and it can completely shut down someone's gameplay. It's pretty common for someone to just go all in, like they put on a potion of rage, they come at you and they consume it and they're haymakering and whatever. Like, it's a big play for them, and then you last chance them and it's just so like, ugh. I do think that when you think about what an unfun card in the game is, similar to Quick Thinker, this is very similar to that. I mean, you are just shutting things down. And I think for that power alone, maybe it should go on the restricted list, because I tell you, if I'm running a dodge-based warband, I'm picking this card. I'm going to do it. And if it's on the B.A.R. list, I would probably pick it anyway. The second Gambit card that I think could make it to the restricted list is Hidden Path. Hidden Path is in about 40% of all decks, and I definitely find this to be true. When this card first came out, I actually did not think it was a good card, and boy was I mistaken. This card is such an amazingly clutch card. The amount of momentum generated from this card is crazy. Because you can take an offensive warband, and if your opponent skews you out for your board, and you put somebody on an edge X, like you can put your leader on an edge X way in the back if you have this in your opening hand, and then at the end of their power phase, you play this card, you pop your leader right next to one of their guys, and you just kill. There's nothing they can do. There's so little they can do, rather. It is a very strong card, and I think people would still take it, even if it were on the B.A.R. list. And I think that warbands who have it just because would have to think very carefully if this was the card that was worth putting into their deck. I'm going to talk about what upgrades I think could be restricted, and this is hard because you have to think about, is an upgrade good enough that if you restricted it, would it be played anymore? I mean, they're so sensitive, these upgrades. You look at the likes of like Soul Trap. As soon as it was restricted, bam, gone. Awakened Weapon, I mean, these guys don't see play that often because they were restricted. So the first guy that I think for sure needs to be on the restricted list is Tome of Offerings. Now, I don't think this surprises anyone. Let's make Grizzly Trophy and Trophy Hunter great again. I still think that if you're a killy warband, you could put this in your deck and on the restricted list. I think that would be fine. But I think there are some warbands who put it in their deck because they might as well. And the benefit you get from that is really, really high. I think you should want to put this in your deck. And the last one is Fenway Crystal. I guess I just don't like teleporting that much. But teleporting your character is such a strong mechanic. I mean, it is probably the strongest mechanic in Warhammer Underworlds next to attacking again. If you are a warband who wants to teleport around the map, I don't think it's unreasonable that you might have to choose this card to be in your deck. The warbands who want this card are warbands like the Thorns, who are trying to hold objectives, but I think the side effect is you have warbands like the Cursebreakers, who are now able to, with Fenway and Hidden Path, to sit back, do their own thing, starve you of glory, get jacked, and then teleport in on you, basically unanswerable, and just murder you in your own territory. I don't think that it would be unreasonable for this card to require, again, careful consideration to be put into your deck. And the very last card that I think could make the restricted list is a spell, and that is the Sphere of Akshi. Now, this card is strong. I mean, it is just so damn strong. I think that if Twist the Knife and Trap and Pit Trap make it onto the restricted list, then this range 4 deal 1 basically, well, you have a very good chance of doing so, should be on. And especially with the way that when a wizard kills someone with a spell, it counts towards so many objectives that I think that this card is worth having it restricted. So there you go, guys. That is my B.A.R. list. Again, a few of them I feel quite strongly about. A few of them, again, it kind of feels, how spicy do these Games Workshop guys want to be? Do they just want to mix everything up and change this game completely, or do they want to do a couple tweaks here and there? Let me know what you guys think. I want to know what you think is going to make the B.A.R. Am I crazy? Are you crazy? Yeah, let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. New videos come out every Friday or Saturday. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like or even subscribing to the channel, or you can leave me a comment in the section below. Until next video, I'll see you then. Thanks.